And now for the next session, we are moving to our region, Mekong region, right? That we will have a panel, a showcase, actually. The first one will be a showcase from 3 countries, Cambodia, Vietnam, and Thailand, which they are in different states of implementing or even advocating for the legislation of the right to information. So I think our technical staff are working around to get our speakers on the board over there. And let me explain how we are going to conduct this session a little bit. So we have around 45 minutes for this session. We have 3 speakers from 3 countries. And since this is a very exceptional opportunity that we can learn from each other, and also I hope we can have some more interaction at the end of the session as well. So I would like to ask our 3 speakers to have their showcase presentation for around 7 minutes. And after that, we will save some time for the interaction between the speakers and also with our audience, which might be coming from other countries, posing some question or even share their own experience in their countries as well. So then we can have a diversity of experience to share and learn from each other. And the topic itself is striving for more accountable public entities through access to information experiences from 3 countries. I would like to do it like this, that we start from Cambodia, which we don't have yet the law, the formal legislation on the right to information, but the civil society working very, very hard to push for this law. We will hear directly from the person who work for this advocacy on this issue. And then we move to Vietnam, where the law has been recently issued, and we will learn from the example of how to exercise the right to information and how it can be useful in the context of human rights advocacy. And then we'll move to Thailand, the place where we have been, this law itself has been promulgated for more than 20 years, and how the role of technology can play in the recently active political participation. So it will be, the order will be like this. So without further ado, I would like to start from our first showcase. Please allow me to introduce our speaker a little bit. Mr. Khortieth, I think you are there already. So Mr. Khortieth has more than 15 years of experience working in different media organizations and development NGOs, including the Voice of Democracy, the Cambodia Center for Independent Media, UNDP, and many more. So, and he's an expert in news reporting, communications, and advocacy. And he has built a wide network of journalists and civil society organization throughout Cambodia and also in the region as well. Right now, he is the research, the research and advocacy manager at the Cambodian Journalists Alliance Association, CamboJA, right? Is that the correct way to go, your organization? Thank you very much. So Mr. Khortieth will share his experience and how the situation in Cambodia is right now. Please, the floor is yours. Just one moment, sorry. I forgot to tell our audience that we are welcoming questions and comments or opinion. If you have to share, please send them to our chat box throughout the conversation. Feel free to send them in. If there are something directly relevant, I will ask directly after the presentation ends. And we have our staff monitoring the Facebook comments box as well. So please feel free to share and ask questions. Sorry for this interruption, Mr. Khortieth, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Thitirat. Hopefully I still have my 7 minutes. Yes, thank you so much. First of all, like Thitirat has briefly introduce that in Cambodia, we don't have the access to information law adopted yet, and we are working very hard on that. And for your information as well, this morning and today, it's still going on that we are organizing the national conference on the universal access to information this morning and today for the whole days. It is organized by our what we call Access to Information Working Group, which consists of 30 CSO in Cambodia, with the participation from various stakeholders and relevant participation, including governments, the representative from the political party, law industry, and community people as well. So let me share you briefly about our advocacy action taken in Cambodia for the sake of access to information for the publics. We have formed up as what we call A2I working group, stand for Access to Information Working Group. CamboJA, one of the members, and actually we work so hard. We have quite regularly monthly meeting among our working group itself. And during monthly meeting, we have also we conducted physically, and we extend also to online to connect with our people in the communities, including indigenous people, women's groups, youth groups, journalists and citizen journalists, etc. So we have our regularly monthly meeting to update what's going on and the main challenges facing by our CSO colleagues and different target group in the country. Beside that, recently and during the COVID-19 and after the COVID, we worked so hard to, submit our letter to the Prime Minister Cabinet Office to speed up the adoption of the access to information draft law. And we try in different channels, like we submit the letter and to the Ministry of Information and to the relevant ministry, like Ministry of Justice. But it's sometimes it's failed and sometimes it's success. Finally, we decide to to walk on the street among our A2I working groups, more than 30 CSO. We walk on the street to submit a letter to the Prime Minister Office, our own, along with we conduct a press conference in front of the Prime Minister Cabinet Office. And as a result, we got a positive response from the government that the Ministry of Information invited us for a physical meeting and also with the National Assembly, and with a new promise that the government will try that they will try their best to have the law adopted as soon as possible. So, however, if you look at the practice on the ground, our people still face many challenges and difficulty in terms of access to information, especially for the journalists, like my organization, CamboJA, and other organizations or journalist colleagues who are working on, to access to, it's hard to access to government records and documents when they produce news story and, request for some data regarding to the government record or, like financial record, etc. So hopefully we still hope that our government will speed up the adoption of the access to information law. However, what we can share you as well is that the process of drafting the access to information law in Cambodia, we still appreciate the way the government have implemented so far, that they open the space, they open dialogue, our participation, our input from the CSO, from different groups. It means that they have, compared to other draft law, I think A2I draft law, even it take a bit longer time, but look at the process itself, it's quite good. It's open to welcome all the input from the stakeholders. So again, we do hope that the government will take its and see its importance and have it adopt soon. So I think I will finish now, Thitirat. So and welcome for any question or clarification later. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So for the audience, please, if you have questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat box or in the Facebook comment, or if you wish to interact with our speakers directly, please keep that to the end. I will try to allow for some interaction if the time is enough. Okay, thank you very much, Khortieth. So then so from Cambodia, we see that now there is this drafting process, and as you say, the drafting process is including some civil societies as well. And even though this process is still slow, but there's like this progress. Okay, thank you very much. Then I would like to move to quickly to Vietnam, where we already have the law enact, but let's see how the law has been used in the real example of human rights advocacy. We have our speaker, Ms. Ha Ngo, who is the director of Center for Education, Promotion and Empowerment of Women in Vietnam. She has spent 24 years of her life in civil society environment with a strong commitment to social foundation of freedom, equity, the rule of law. She has managed many programs related to women and ethnic minority empowerment, advocacy for freedom of information, budget transparency, and also fair election. She has also experience with the UN Human Rights Mechanism as well. So Ms. Ha Ngo, the floor is yours. And I think you have the slide to share with us as well.
Yes, thank you, and good afternoon from Vietnam. Yes, Vietnam adopted the law on access to information in 2016. So we based on this law and the land law to implement an action research on to evaluate how the local government disclose the information on land, land master plan, and also land pricing framework last year. So why we conducted this action research, as you know, the land conflict is a major issue that spans decades in Vietnam, and every year the government received a lot of complaints from citizens for their land right. And the lack of transparency in land use planning and implementation is one of the main causes of land conflict. So that's why our organizations and UNDPs joined conducted this action research in last year, and this year we do the second action research to compare to the finding of last year. So another reason that we want to note why every year since 2011, only 20% of interview through PAPI is a public administration performance index in Vietnam. Through PAPI, we know that only 20% of respondent or informant confirm that they can access to land information. So we have to fight why this number. So the research objectives, we focus on 4 objectives. The first one, to review public access to information about annual land use plans and land pricing framework as issued by district and provincial government in all of 63 provinces in Vietnam. And the second objective is to develop a website to connect the official information on land use plans and land pricing framework issued and publicized by all districts and provinces in the country. And objective 3 is to experiment on request for land information as provided for the law on access to information and also the landlord. And the fourth one, we make recommendations for the government, and especially for the amendment of landlord in Vietnam right now. So for the research method, we have used four methods as in the screen. The first one is to review legal document on disclosure of land information. The second one is to review the disclosure of information on land use plan at district level and land pricing framework at provincial level on the e-portals of the government, of the local government. And the third one is to send out requests for land information to local state agency. And the last one is to develop an e-portal about disclosure of land information and survey users' satisfaction with how land information is disclosed on the e-portals of local government. So this is some initial findings through the action research. We found that only 337 out of 704 district level agencies have a publicized district land use plan on their e-portals in 2021. So, and at the provincial levels, we found only 27 out of 63 provinces and municipalities have a public provincial land pricing framework in 2021. So we make this map on our website. So more details you can see. Not only we count how many local government office disclose the land information, but we also count if they disclose on times or not. So through our finding, we can see that only 123 per 337 organizations disclose the information timely, and the rest is late than the deadline, or we cannot see on their website. So for the package of the information as the landlord, we found that only 17% of organizations who disclose information published or disclose the full package, and the rest they disclose a part of package document. You can see through the figures. So we, for the sending request for land information, we sent the request to more than 560 district state agencies. So our researcher with the roles of researchers, lawyer, ordinary citizen, and real estate agent to send request to the local government. So for the result, we found that in general, you can see there are 51.7% of organization didn't give any feedback to our request. So for the request by real estate agents, you can see only 12.9% of request was provided by the government. And for the ordinary citizens, there are only 22.9% of organizations provided information. So for the lawyers, only 14.9% organization agencies provided land information, and for the researcher, there are 15.3% of agencies provided. So for the refused feedback, we found that the most of agencies use the law on access to information to refuse our request. And for the last number of agency, state agency at district level, given no feedback to our request. So this is you can see the accountabilities of the local government to citizens' request for information. So through the sending requests for information, we sent some requests without citations of law on access to information, and others with the citation of law on access to information. So you can see on the figures that with the request, with the citation, so you can see that the local government refused much more than the with the citation. So you can see the through the request for information, the ordinary people received much the feedback than others, and without citation, we received the different result from the state agency at district level. So with the review of the website of provincial and district state agencies for land information, we put the link of this document on their e-portal through our website at the we call the 公开thông tin đất đai. It means that the land information disclosure website by our organizations. So this is like some findings that I would like to share with you, because I have only 7 minutes. But through this action research and other research, annual research by our organizations and our partner, we found that the state agencies still confuse between law on access to information and the law on legislation education to the citizen. So that's why they don't realize their obligation for right to information of the people. So that's why for CEPEW, our organization as a leading and facilitating organizations for law on access to information, we must focus on duty bearers of right to access to information in Vietnam. So this is our experience to share with you through some finding of our action research. So feel free to raise any comment or question. I am going to share more with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ms. Ha Ngo, for such a detailed explanation of how this project was done. And of course, it was enabled by the law itself, right? And I really like your point about focusing on the duty bearers, and maybe we have to educate the government officials as well, that they know that they have the duty to provide this information. And it's quite clear from your showcase from your presentation that this is not only benefit for the civil society or general public, but also for the economy side, for the private agencies as well. And maybe I'll come back. Maybe we can discuss more about like how this website has been used or the map has been used by general public later. Thank you very much, Ms. Hango. Then we move quickly to Thailand, the showcase from Thailand, where we already have this law for a while. But recently we have heard a lot more about the integration of technology or some we call civic tech, right? The participation from people. And we have Ms. Thanisara Ruangdej, who is a CEO and co-founder of Punjab, Thailand's first data storytelling studio. And with her background in online journalism and her interest in data science, coding, and management, now she is a project manager and co-founder of WeViIS, which is a civic technology for Thailand's democracy. It used data and digital technology to promote democratic ideas and create more civil participation in Thailand politics. Ms. Thanisara, the floor is yours.
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks so much for having me here today. It's my honor to share with you about the project that Thitirat already introduced. It's called WeViIS. I will tell you about who we are, why we exist, and what we do to try to enable more accessible to information about politics, human rights, and democracy in Thailand. As mentioned, even though Thailand has the law about public information, I think there is still several problems and a big room for improvement. Some situations are similar, like the cases that both former speakers share. And we think as a civil society, as the people in this society, like us, need to do something. First of all, I would like you to know about us. We are a group of young generations, designers, developers, and storytellers who share a dream about better democracy, where a more participatory and transparent system exists. And we believe that one of the ways to become closer to that dream is to empower people with data and technology. We also strongly believe that the right to information is a basic right for every one of us in a democratic society and could lead us to more rational public decision and constructive social debate. So we just came together and try to make things that we always want to see in our society just happen. For over 3 years, we have developed several projects to encourage accessibility to data and information, and also empower people on 3 main levels. Fundamentally, our projects are expected to enable as much as possible about accessible public data in order to explain some social phenomena, answer some questions, keep people informed for decision making, or maybe lead to possible solutions about some issue. And for the second level, besides providing information, we have tried to push some projects to increase participation levels, of course, based on data. I think this will emphasize the impact of open data. And our final goal, which is quite our dream, is to connect civil society in this country together and also bridge the gap between civil society and the government or public organizations to work together on open information and participation. As we think this is a big gap in our society and result in the poor access to information, even though we have the law. Today, I would like to share some cases that we have done and maybe try to reach those 3 levels of information and participation. The first one, we call it the work for us. Since we noticed that Thai society has always debated the moral values and performances of politicians, mostly depending on individual opinions, and those debates often became emotional arguments. We think that because we lack an overview picture and information for judgment, that make us use only emotion to discuss and debate. And we investigate and found that because official data from the parliament is kind of difficult to access. Some are not available, not regularly updated, or many are in the poor format. It requires a lot of effort to access and understand those data. So it's impossible for people to debate based on the data. So we have spent a lot of time using an official information act, requesting the information and digitizing and organizing those messy data, and develop a platform, try to make those information easier for everyone to use. And now I think everyone in this country can search for who their representatives are and what they vote for us. Amazingly surprised to me that about 250,000 people use this website per year. I don't expect so many people use this at the first place, but yes, it makes our team so happy. Then we apply a similar idea to the project Promise Tracker, but for monitoring political parties. You may know that all political campaigns that each political party promote during the general election are scattered among news and social media. And we think 4 years of an election cycle is long enough to make us forget what they promised. So it's really a struggle for every voter to track those promises. And we think that maybe our team could help with gathering all those promises and also track what their members have done to realize those promises as well. We expect that this will keep the political parties more accountable and also help people or voters to consider whom to vote for in the upcoming election. The third project used by a lot of people that I would like to share with you is the Open Budget project that we co-develop with Move Forward Party. In our country, reviewing budgets has always been a big pain for members of parliament, and seems like it's impossible for people like us to understand because of the overwhelming list of expenses written on 30 printed books and almost 10,000 pages of scanned PDF that make not even possible for anyone to search, even for an item they're interested in. Therefore, for national budget, into 2023, we adopted some technology to turn those paper-based files into a machine-readable format, where others could further use this data and information. And then we also developed an interface to visualize those data and equip searchable function, allowing anyone to easily understand and search for what they want to know about the national budget. So we suppose there is no more barrier for monitoring national budget spending anymore. And at the city level, we have pushed the budget project to another level of participation. For Bangkok budgeting, like national budget, we digitize paper-based data and turn them into an interactive platform, visualizing the city expense and also allowing people to vote on the city development by rating, ranking, and commenting about the project that they plan to spend the money. And I think this becomes an opening space for people's voice on information. Thousands of users joined this campaign and their opinion were submitted to Bangkok Metropolitan Administration. The last project I would like to show you is Open Data for Open Parliament, which is one of the first projects we reached the level of collaboration that we always dream for. This project actually results from a lot of time and a lot of effort that our team has tried to make parliamentary and public budget data more accessible. We keep requesting more information and better format from the authorities. So it's our big struggle every time we start a project that even we have an official information act, we ask ourselves why we need to spend a lot of effort to request, to wait, and to digitize the public information. So we think it could be better if we could encourage an accessibility and a good quality at the first place. So we find a way to work with the Secretary of Parliament to redesign the practice of open parliament data to meet the needs of members and also the people like us. We do hope this project will enable more efficient access to parliament information and can be a sample of co-development between civil society and the public organization. In summary, all we have done is just to push our society towards our dream democracy. We believe that belongs to the society belongs to the people and could be driven forward by our participation based on information. So we will keep trying to enable more accessible data and encourage more participation despite a lot of challenges. I think what we have done for years has already set some new standards in this society, and we will keep doing more for sure. Thank you for having me here today, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Ms. Thanisara, for explaining, for giving us details of very exciting projects, 4 projects, right? And actually, I was about to ask, did these projects give some positive effect, or did you see any change? And it seemed like your last project, in collaboration with the Secretary of Parliament, seems to give some signal of change from the government side already. Okay, thank you very much. Maybe I will go back to Mr. Khortieth so that we can have a little bit more information from Cambodia as well. I would like to ask a little bit more about the drafting process of in Cambodia. Is there any obstacles that you see in the drafting process of this law, and how did you mobilize people or civil society to join with you to see the importance of the right to information? I mean, because you mentioned that there were this meeting or collaboration between civil societies during your movement as well. So Mr. Khortieth, if you can elaborate a little bit more about those points briefly.
Yes, thank you very much. Of course, there were some obstacles during the drafting process. Even the government's open for our participation, discussion, and inputs. However, in terms of technical terms, used in the draft law itself, it's something like so vague and broad. For example, some article still mention that they will not disclose some information which is affect the national security or the government interest, so on and so forth. So that's why we have conducted meeting with our stakeholders and community people, indigenous people, many times to collect, to mobilize all inputs to be submitted to the governments. However, we could see that according to the latest draft law we received from the government, that the Ministry of Information have finished the technical discussion with the Ministry of Justice. I think among our inputs, our recommendation to the government, to the draft law itself, we could see that majority of it still not accepted by the government. I mean that the government doesn't accept our recommendation and inputs. So it's still, according to our CSO, it's still there are 9 main articles still problem for our people. Including, you know, like the term using in the law itself. And for example, in the Article 15, they said that at least it must be 40 days in between when someone requests information from the government. So they have to wait for another 40 days to request another information, so something and so forth. So I mean that in the draft law it's there, still like have many technical challenges for us.
Okay, Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think there's a long way, a struggle that we have to face until the law will be passed. My best wish for the hard work of Cambodian civil societies. And yes, I would like to move on to Ms. Ha Ngo about her work to elaborate on the oversight mechanism in Vietnam, because you mentioned that many requests receive no response at all. So how the oversight mechanism is working over there, or is there any? And how did you engage with general public and maybe also private sectors to join or to use data in your project? Because I feel like the more people use, the more people see how important the right to information is, right?
Yes. So in the law on access to information, the oversight is regulated to the National Assembly and People Council at local level. And also we can use the law on complaint and the law on denunciations to for the access to information or for the refuse or no feedback for information requests or no information disclosure. The committees for information is not regulated in the law on access to information because the political system of Vietnam. So the draft teams didn't mention such kind of mechanisms in the law, in the draft law. Even they found that it is a very useful mechanisms at that time. So so that's why it is quite difficult for us to work on the refusions or no feedback back for our request or so that's why as a civil society organizations we must focus on promotions of the law on access to information. We work as the promoters or supporters for the government agencies at both central and local level to understand about their duties in the laws, and also make them not confused between the law on access to information and law on legislation education to the people. So this is a way to work with the local government. And also we try our best to build some model. We work with some department and some localities to support them to build their model and to fulfill the task regulated by the law on access to information. So this is our process to work with the central and local government for this law. We also work with the Ministry of Justice to inform them that how the law implement in the fact in the situation of implementation of law on access to information, because they are quite busy with other duties also. So the law on access to information only one, and the lack of human resource and financial report to support local government and state agencies. So that's why we have to collect evidence to inform them how to promote the state agencies to fulfill their duties for law on access to information. And for the public engagement, we work with the young people. Yes, young people to understand about right to access to information, and also how the law on access to information help them to improve their life. For the private sector, funny story I want to tell you that when I work for process of compiling this law, when I work with the enterprise association, they confirmed to me that they didn't need transparent and environment. they need gray environment for their benefit, you see. So it is quite difficult to work with the enterprise to promote transparency. So that's why we work among our civil society actors and also try to cooperate with the state agencies and also to engage young people to understand about their right to information.
Wow, thank you very much. I think that answer exactly tells us why we need transparency, right? To increase equality or the equal access to the economic resources, right? And always the collaboration is always a complex issue. But from what you said, I think among the three, our three speakers, they all talk about the collaboration with the government and also how the civil society can fill the gap. In the government side.
Yes, and also I think why we paid we paid attention, or we try our best to work with duty bearers, because we think about the availabilities of information on their website and also e-portals of the government. And when the people need the information, everything is available there.
Yes, thank you very much. I see. So the availability is the key here. And I would like to ask the last question for Ms. Thanisara. Since you mentioned that you had this participation from the young people a lot, and you use a lot of technology, which of course they are very exciting. But I'm curious that how about the participation from the older generations, or how did this technology facilitate, or did it become some obstacles for the generation that might not be familiar with this technology?
Yeah, I think during the first year we can reach mostly the young generation, because we think like we start from the young generation group, so we cannot figure how to reach the elderly people. But I think for general election and the latest Bangkok election, we know how to design in the terms of inclusivity. So we noticed from our analytics that a lot of maybe elderly people, I don't want to use this word, but maybe from them the other generation can participate in our website and use our information. So I think is only by design. If you want people to participate as much as possible, you have to think. You don't have to use a complicated technology. You use what they always use in daily life, stuff like they can send toward the Line application, which is mostly used among the elder people in Thailand. And you don't have to provide a lot of data in the first place. Just like provide them when they would like to know things. So I think it's also our learning and our improvement during working with the technology and information. But I think we also learned about not only about the generation, but for the disability, because a lot of people with color blindness also use our website, and when we get the feedback from them, we try to contact them and kind of consult them how can we make it better. So I think it's about learning and improving every time we face a new challenge. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you very much. I think you said a very, very important thing, that when we integrate technology into the right to information or open data context, we have to be careful that the design is inclusive enough. And I like the way that you said that it is like improving and learning from the problems that occur. Thank you so much. I think our time has come, but I think we can conclude the first session that we learned from the three countries that have that are in different stage of development regarding the right to information. We learned that there are some struggles, some obstacles that civil society, general public has to work together, try to fill the gap strategically. And at the same time, we have to think about possible partners. And of course, using technology, the technology that is used must be considered in the context of the people who really use it, not just only for the sake of introducing technology. Okay, thank you very much. I would like to pass over the microphone to Ajahn Pichitra, our next moderator. And I think the main language for our session today will switch to Thai. Thank you very much.